Thank you, Bob, very much. None of this gets accomplished without some very special people who head off a capital campaign. And right now, I just want you to know that we are very much indebted to the work that David and Stacy McDavid are doing for this campaign. And I'd like them to stand up. They're up here on the stage. Give them a great big round of applause. They're doing a great job. Well, here's our story. It's really a very interesting story. Just over 50 years ago, in October 1952, the town gathered to celebrate a new chapter in what had already become a very special place, the Fort Worth Children's Museum. In fact, today, I have from our collection the actual shovel that was used by Amon G. Carter and his grandson, Jay Lee, on that day in 1952. And Jay Lee, are you here today? 50 years later. It's quite significant, actually. We have a photograph of you, I think, Jay Lee, when you're 3 years old with your granddad. And it's quite fantastic. This shovel was used again when the museum broke ground for the Omni Theater in December of 1980. So Ruth, here it is for you to use today as your dad did in 1952. By the way, there are many of you in this audience whose grandparents and parents helped to jumpstart this museum, and we thank you for that. Just like us, that group was here to celebrate the impact and the future of a new building. That place had already been conceived in 1937, as the mayor had mentioned earlier, chartered in 1941 by teachers. Yes, teachers. They understood a very simple but exciting principle. They wanted to create a place where they could introduce children to hands-on learning. I'd like to dedicate today to those early teachers and supporters who had an exquisite vision. What they believed then has continued, that the human spirit reaches out to learn. Building on those early supporters' dreams for family and kids, I'd like to say we're not creating a new museum. Rather, we're creating a brand new envelope for a very powerful idea. Like those early teachers and supporters, we believe that our future is in families and that they should expect something very special when they walk through our doors. At minimum, a sense of discovery. Speaking of supporters, because we host over 200,000 kids a year on field trips, I'd like to publicly thank our educators for highlighting the museum when they make that choice every year for field trips. They have been, the Fort Worth, in particular the Fort Worth ISD, has been a great partner for many, many years, and we thank them for that. And of course, we would not be here today without our partners and generous contributors, the National Cowgirl Museum and Hall of Fame, and of course, the cattle raisers. Their support and friendship has been a great model and already recognized by the American Association of Museums. I've always said we're better together than we are apart. And thank you, Pat Riley, director of the Cowgirl, from our museum to yours, for always being there. Just take a look at the ground floor of the Cowgirl Museum, and it tells you a great story about a relationship and about a partner. Pat's family to me and also to the museum, the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History. Now for the lantern, directly behind me. It represents our promise, our covenant that learning is at the core of our mission and that science and history provide the compass to achieve our goals. So for me, the lantern represents a lantern of learning. We're thankful to Ricardo that his creativity has captured that wonderful feeling for the new facility, and all while a huge respect for the architecture, the historical architecture that exists in this area of the cultural district. Muchas gracias, Ricardo, for understanding who we are and what we stand for. You know, Ricardo told me once that the life of this new building will be 75 to 100 years, everyone. That means that my 3-year-old grandson can expect to bring his grandchildren or even great-grandchildren to this new building. I'd like all of you to think about that as we move to break ground in this circle of earth. The circle represents to me a circle of life, symbolizing the generations of families that have already loved Fort Worth Museum of Science and History and the generations of families to come. Before we break ground, I'd like to take just a moment to do two things. First of all, I'd like you to thank in a big way the kids who are here today. First of all, we have elementary school, we have our own museum school kids, and then we have North High Mount Elementary School, and we have a great talented band from W.P. McLean Middle School. If you give them a round of applause, it'd be great.
There's plenty of room on the other side of the circle. Almost there. All right. On the count of 3, we're going to throw out in the middle. 1. Oh, pick up the dirt first. Yes, obviously. So get a good scoop. Hold it. Let's hold it for a shot. Ready to go. All right, just for good measure, go ahead and take another scoop. One, two, throw. All right, I want to welcome everybody back to the Cowgirl, except for those kids who are going to be hanging up their artwork on the wall. The groundbreakers, please leave your shovels on the table. We're collecting those, and we will hand those out to you as you're leaving today.
Good job. Put it right there in the middle.
Center it up there. Yeah, just a little bit. Put yours in the middle. There you go.
No, not in the wall. No, I'm on TV.
Right.
I do that, you remember?
Let's check them out. Nice.
A little bit higher. Yep, right there. Right there. All righty. Next person.
Right there. You guys back up just a little bit. There you go.
This one's gonna be right over here. Excuse me. Thank you.
Okay, you're gonna be right here with Curtis.
No, mine is.
Check that out. Yeah. Nice.
Bottom part of that right there.
Put it down the line right there. Just